Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem marks the latest film in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle franchise. So today, let's rank them all from worst to best. Hey everybody, my name's Justin here. I try to watch everything that hits theaters and on streaming services. If you guys are like me, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below and click that notification for more up and coming videos. How would you rank all of the Turtle films? I will be including some of the animated films, the one with Batman, the one on Netflix, Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles Forever as well. And those were mostly first time watches for me, so I'm really excited to talk about them within this video. So leave your ranking in the comment section. Coming in last place is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. I know I watched this as a kid, but I can't remember actually watching it. I remember watching the first and second one, having vivid memories of those movies. I don't have that for the third film, and watching it as an adult, it's forgettable. The Turtles are fun still, and the brotherly love that they have is solid within this movie. But exploring their ninja skills and having a more different story compared to the first two, it doesn't really do anything compelling with it. It doesn't have a chance to feel dramatic as they explore their ninja skills and the history of it all. There's not a chance to feel very personal to the Turtles, so most of the film, it drags. It's boring, it's forgettable, and easily the worst one on this list. Coming in ninth place is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Michael Bay produced film, the live action reboot that they did that tried to be gritty and the comedy just did not match it. The Turtles are known to be fun, likable characters, and in here they tried to add a more serious approach to them while also balancing some humor, and it just did not work in here. The villain mostly is forgettable, and I didn't really feel any intimidation from Shredder. I didn't feel any sense of urgency coming from this character, and they don't really feel like teenagers. They feel like adult turtles within this movie. The CGI is pretty decent, and there are some fun action scenes, but this movie tries to be way too flashy, and it definitely does feel like a Michael Bay film. Coming in at number 8 is Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I do like the idea behind it, and I think that they easily blend Batman's world with the Turtles' world, having Batman's villains in here alongside the villains of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder, so there's a nice balance to it. It's the middle half of the movie for me that seems to lose it. Has a really nice setup of the Turtles meeting Bruce Wayne and fighting off against the Penguin and the Foot Clan. And then the movie tries to take on too much, and we have so many villains from Batman within here that are being changed into these creatures that are running amongst Gotham City. And while it does blend the Turtle world with Batman's world very nicely, I think it loses steam middle half of the movie. While I did appreciate some of the bigger ideas that they were trying to accomplish within this movie, it really comes off as forgettable and tackling on way too much. Coming in 7th place is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. The villains within this movie, Bebop and Rocksteady, really saved this film because essentially it feels like the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle live action reboot film, but our villains feel bigger in here, and they create a sense of energy in here that really just makes this movie have a nice pace, and it's really entertaining at times. There are a lot of extended action scenes with the Turtles and the villains that just make it for a lot of fun. This movie doesn't have to establish the Turtles. We already know them. We're already adjusted to their sense of humor, some of the conflict with each other. So you're really able to just jump into this movie, have fun with it, and it's really entertaining at times. Coming in at number 6 is Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie. This is a continuation of the Nickelodeon show, which I've seen a few episodes. I watched a few episodes leading into this movie and a few episodes after that movie as well. And not knowing so much of that Nickelodeon show, I was really impressed with this movie. From the animation to the urgency to the turtles themselves, it feels very different from what I know the turtles to be. I grew up with the 90s live action turtle films, seen a lot of the 80s show as well. So going into this movie, it was very different from what I knew the turtles to be. And I really did like that. I like the animation style in here, very cartoony, but also just has a nice vibe to it. There's a real sense of urgency. The stakes are very high within this film, so you have to see the turtles rely on each other throughout this film and show off their skills quite often within this movie. So going into this movie, I do remember being very impressed with it in terms of the animation, the story, the turtles themselves. I remember it being a really good Turtles film, and after a rewatch, it still holds up. And I have seen some of the episodes of the show leading into this movie and after the movie as well, so I think it only kind of builds this movie up, and the connection to the show is very strong. Coming in fifth place is Turtles Forever. I like this movie a lot. I didn't know about this until a couple years ago. I think it was released in 2009, which celebrated an anniversary for the Turtles. And here you brought in the Turtles from the 80s, the show, and then I think it was a 2003 show as well. So this movie also served as a finale to that show. And it's so interesting to watch this movie because you have such different interpretations of the Turtles. And that is in this movie. You have the 80s Turtles that at times don't take things very seriously. They're all very goofy, and it's just very lighthearted. Whereas the other turtles within this movie, as they meet up with each other, they take things more seriously. Even Michelangelo, and you see the different style of animation and the turtles as well, and how people have written the turtles throughout this year. So I like seeing the two separate groups of turtles rely on each other, also learn from them and their different styles, and also accepting them as well. So Turtles Forever, it did feel like a celebration of turtles, seeing the different styles of the turtles that we've gotten throughout the years, the different interpretations of them as well. But Turtles Forever was a lot of fun. I like it still felt like the 80s cartoon and the 2003 cartoon as well, even just an updated version of them. Coming in fourth place is TMNT. This movie has probably the best look at the relationships between the turtles in terms of them relying on each other, but also them wanting to do their own thing, and the conflict that rises within the group. This movie captures it so well to make a lot of the moments feel more dramatic compared to any of the other turtle films. The animation is really good, but I remember liking this movie just solely off of the exploration of the turtles' relationship. They do feel like brothers, but they do butt heads quite often. And I think a lot of the different movies throughout the years seem to forget that they argue quite often, and it's not a picture perfect brother relationship. And this movie does it so well with the writing of the brothers, exploring the relationship, testing them throughout, but also having a sense of urgency, strong villains within this film, but also making it really entertaining with the animation and some thrilling sequences as well. But TMNT did a nice job of exploring the relationship and making sure that it does feel realistic when it comes to brother relationships. Coming in third place is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: The Secret of the Ooze. Now, I do remember watching this one as a kid, the opening sequence, and a lot of the reveals for the villains throughout the film. There's a lot of things that stick with me when I watched it as a kid. And the villains in here are a lot of fun. And Shredder, once again, really entertaining. The brothers just feel very comfortable with each other. The dance number with the Vanilla Ice in here is just a blast. There's a lot of very cheesy moments within this movie, but it really embraces that. And the turtles, they like to have fun. They do kind of feel like teenagers within this movie, and they still are learning a lot about themselves and their skills, and relying on Master Splinter to help them as well. So I do like Secret of the Ooze. It's one of my favorite movies when I watched it as a kid. I remember having that VHS for this movie and the first one as well, even the third one. But I feel like out of all three 90s original live action movies, Secret of the Ooze is one I watched the most. I liked the villains in here, the turtles, some fun sequences in the beginning. It remembers to have humor in it, but also feeling a bit dramatic at times. It's got that really nice balance to it. Coming in second place is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So this came out in 1990. I wasn't born yet, so I probably didn't watch it until I was like 4 or 5 years old. But as an adult, there's a large chunk in the middle that seems to drag. And that is held up, though, by the turtles. And even though the story itself seems to slow down a little bit and doesn't have the best pacing for it, the turtles really carry this movie. They all feel very different, and the film does a fabulous job of exploring each turtle and how they are different from each other. Not only their weapons and their colors and their skill sets, their personalities are very different, and the film does a great job in the beginning, especially writing these characters and then also exploring their personalities and setting aside time in the beginning to understand that each turtle is different from each other. And the brother relationship is very strong in here. It's not as they're not testing the group as much as other interpretations of the turtles, but the 90s vibe to it, soundtrack, the overall atmosphere of New York City, it works for this movie. And the costumes are pretty good as well. A lot of fun action scenes. It's just a cheesy good time. My daughter and I watched it and she had a good time with it. It's not the best thing ever, but it is one I do remember watching a lot as a kid. And just watching the turtles fight against Shredder, but the middle half seems to slow down a little bit as we explore more of the Foot Clan and Shredder and Casey Jones as well. Not like it took on too much, but just the overall story, they really didn't know what to do with the middle half. But coming in first place is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. This is the easy pick for me. I had the most fun out of all the turtle films, and it was a hard choice. Do I let nostalgia really take over and having the original live action film be my favorite one? So I had to fight against my nostalgia for this movie. But this movie made them feel like teenagers. Pop culture references, things that they are into. They made them feel like teenagers, just goofing off. That's teenagers right there. But then also having an endearing story of wanting the turtles to be accepted, wanting to go to high school, wanting to make friends, human friends, and exploring the streets above them. That was a very personal touch to this story. And if they continue doing these movies, then you can start to venture into the relationship a little more and them fighting with each other and arguing, but also loving each other as well. So it has a nice setup. The animation is something different from what I've seen before. It's very exaggerated. It feels like concept art on the screen, sketchbook drawings, and I really like that. All the different villains, all of the voice acting in here, just is so cool to see because you don't get to see some of these villains within the movies so much. So I like seeing other ones that I have not seen before in this movie. But the story itself, the relationships that were built up throughout this film, it's hilarious as well. It's got a really good soundtrack too. So Mutant Mayhem really mixed a lot. High energy, exaggerated animation in here, really good brother relationship, pop culture references left and right, a lot of hilarious moments. This movie worked and I was surprised with it. I didn't expect it to be number one, but I really had to fight off against nostalgia when it came to this movie. But I do think Mutant Mayhem is the best version of the Turtles. So there you guys have it, all 10 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies ranked worst to best. How would you rank them? Let me know in the comment section down below, and stay tuned for more up and coming content like this. My name is Justin Watches Movies, and you guys stay classy, YouTube.